There's a strange sort of choreography to pretending, especially when the stage you've been placed on wasn't meant for you, and the script is nowhere to be found. I've become fluent in the art of nodding like I belong, rolling through rooms like I know where I'm going, and smiling like I'm not completely adrift. I don't have a job. I don't have a daily planner brimming with purpose, but I've mastered the look of someone who might. I'm in a powered wheelchair, and somehow, that feels like both too much and not enough. People see the chair and assume they understand something about me, that I'm fragile, that I need help, that my life is a long string of despites. And yet at the same time, they don't see the labor it takes to exist like this in a society that constantly measures worth by output, by productivity, by paychecks and business cards. They don't see the daily negotiation of visibility, how I try to disappear just enough to not be pitied, but not so much that I'm erased entirely. Unemployment isn't just about money. It eats at identity. The question, "So what do you do?" is a landmine wrapped in casual conversation. I usually say something like, "I'm between things," or "working on some writing," or if I'm feeling brave, "I'm figuring it out." All of it is true, and none of it feels sufficient. What I want to say is, I exist in a world that wasn't made for me. And every day I continue to exist is its own kind of work. But that doesn't look good on a LinkedIn profile. People think that if you're not in pain, you must be fine. If you're not employed, you must be resting. If you're in a powered chair, your life must revolve around hospitals or hardship. The stereotypes come in loud, clear, and uninvited. The elderly woman who calls me inspiring for simply buying my own groceries. The guy who pats my shoulder in line at the DMV and says, "Good for you, getting out like that." I smile politely. I always smile. But inside, I'm thinking, what exactly do you think my life is? I didn't grow up knowing how to be disabled in public. I didn't have a handbook for how to navigate eye contact that turns into staring or well-meaning but intrusive questions about what happened. So I improvise. I pretend. I've learned to make conversation quickly so people forget the chair. I know when to throw in a self-deprecating joke to disarm them, to ease their discomfort. I become fluent in the language of casual competence. I know how to look like someone who isn't lost. But the truth is, I often feel lost. There is no map for a life outside the systems that shape everyone else's. No schedule. No clock in, clock out. Just long, open days that stretch into each other like fog. Some days I try to fill them with movement, errands, calls, emails. Other days, I sit quietly with my thoughts until the silence becomes deafening. I watch other people move forward. New jobs, new apartments, new achievements pinned like medals on their timelines. I scroll, 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 and feel like a static image in a world of fast motion. I pretend I'm okay with that I'm just taking time, that I'm prioritizing self-care. And again, it's all technically true. But beneath it is the ache of displacement. What am I building? Where am I going? When I roll out of bed each morning, I often ask, is this enough? Am I enough? I live with the contradiction of being constantly visible and profoundly unseen. People see the wheelchair, but they don't see me. They don't see the sharpness of my thoughts, the quick wit I've had to develop to survive awkward interactions. They don't see the emotional calculus that goes into something as simple as deciding whether to attend an event. Will it be accessible? Will I have to explain myself again? Will I be treated like furniture or like a person? Every choice is laced with that exhausting uncertainty. And yet, I perform. I pretend. I go to the thing, say the lines, wave away the questions with grace. I show up online with carefully worded captions and smiling selfies, constructing a version of myself I think the world can stomach. Not too sad, not too angry. Just competent enough to be palatable, just warm enough to be accepted. But pretending all the time is exhausting. There's a version of me that only shows up when I'm alone, unfiltered, unsure, undone. She stares out the window for too long. She cries without knowing why. She feels like the rest of the world is in motion and she's on pause. Not broken, Just misfit, like a puzzle piece that was cut from the wrong box entirely. I try to be gentle with that version of me. I remind her that pretending isn't lying. It's surviving. That every time she puts on a clean shirt and answers a text, she's practicing resilience. That she is worthy, even if she never clocks into a job again. That her life is not less valuable because it doesn't follow the rules of capitalism or convention. That she has always been enough, even when she doesn't believe it. And there are days, good ones, when the pretending fades and something real slips through. A spontaneous laugh with a friend who doesn't treat me like a project. A quiet moment watching the sky change colors from my window. A burst of inspiration when I write something that actually feels like me. On those days, I don't feel like I'm performing. I just feel alive. The truth is, I don't know what I'm doing. Not really. But neither does anyone else. Most people are just better at blending in. I don't get to blend. I roll into a room and I am seen, whether I want to be or not. So I've learned to carry myself like I meant to be there. Like I know what I'm doing, even if I don't. Because maybe that's what real confidence is, not certainty, but presence. Not having a plan, but choosing to exist anyway. So here I am, rolling through this life, unsure of the map, unclear on the destination. Sometimes I move forward. Sometimes I stall. Sometimes I just stay still and watch the wind move through the trees and remind myself that being here is enough. I am not broken. I am not lazy. I am not an inspiration. I am a person figuring it out in real time. Sometimes I pretend I know what I'm doing because it helps me keep going. But other times, I let the truth show. And in those moments, when I am raw and real and unpolished, I remember that pretending is not the opposite of honesty. It's part of the path toward it. So no, I don't have a job. I don't have answers. But I have stories. I have days. I have breath. I have a self that is still unfolding. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.